Hello, fellow homeschooling families. Today I wanted to do a video about how I do my curriculum for my two kids who are in 8th grade and 10th grade, so middle and high school. I've gotten kind of a little bit of questions around that, and so I wanted to address it because I do make my own curriculum for them, and I started doing that maybe... You know what? Actually, I started doing that after we tried like a online school, and then I was like, I could just do this myself. I'm not a teacher. I've said that before. I'm not a teacher by trade or trained. I did work for a school district, so I kind of know like what the A through G for California requirements are, and also know kind of a little bit of the curriculum, like what kids would learn, because I worked in a lot of high schools and middle schools. So I kind of just pulled from that and then made it my own. Like I said in the previous video, that like it was very stressful at first, and like I was trying to do 6 classes in one day and it just was not working. I was stressed, the kids were getting stressed. It felt like we were just like cramming everything up and trying to make it like a regular school, and that's not necessary. So I just wanted to share with you guys how I do my curriculum now, which is a lot less stress for me. I feel like my kids are having more fun learning. I'm even enjoying it. It's more student-based and student-led. So yeah, hopefully this helps. So after talking to my kids, they're pretty independent for the most part. I'll say my son is more independent than my daughter, but they felt like packets would be best for them. So I do weekly or bi-weekly packets depending on kind of what our week looks like. Sometimes I want like a thicker packet if I know that we have a lot going on and I just feel like, hey, I want to get it done for the next 2 weeks. And then I'll just tell them what page or how much of the work they need to do out of the packet each day. So we do packets and we include all the subjects. Most of the time we include all the subjects depending on how big the packet is. I like to cross subjects. So say, for instance, we learned about volcanoes after hearing about the volcano eruption in Tonga. We decided, oh, let's learn about volcanoes. So I was able to use the volcano project, I guess. Well, I made it a project, but I was able to use that. We watched videos on the volcano. We read articles about the volcano. We got into the science around volcanoes, and then they had to do a project, a volcano project, and at the end we did some really cool little like building our own volcano out of cake, right? So they baked the cake by themselves, which is also science too, because you have to measure and, you know, the temperature and whatnot. So they baked this cake from scratch. Then they put frosting in it, and they used that to mold their own volcano. And as they were molding it, then they were telling me the different layers of the volcano, and also which volcano type they're actually making. And so it was just nice. And and then they also wrote a paper too around all the volcano types, and like what's a dormant one, what's, you know, an active volcano. And then they had to choose one volcano that anywhere in the solar system, because Earth is not the only place to have volcanoes. So they could choose any planet they want that has a volcano and learn about that volcano. So we were able to include science, art, cooking, history, yeah, all up in that one lesson. So that lesson took us about 2 weeks. So I cater to whatever we're gonna learn and like how big of a project or a lesson it is, and I kind of tweak the packet according to that. Let me see what else. Typically in my packets I'll have one page that's catered to math, what we're gonna learn for the week of math, and then science, history, English. I also like to add in subjects that my kids are interested in. So like they like social justice type of thing. So I'll add in some like things around social justice and learning about politics. They like to learn about politics, mostly my son. And my daughter's into like astrology, so we try to do little things that will keep them interested. We also try to start our day, like especially if it's like a day where we're just like with like meditation or with like some kind of check-in. So that's kind of what kind of keeps us going. get all the like all the jujus out and just kind of like, okay, now that we got all that out, now we can focus. We also do a lot of like articles. I try to find like articles, short stories, documents, or movies that collaborates with what we're being taught that week. And then it kind of just helps because like everybody learns differently. So I try to do something for like those who, like my kids who learn like auditory or kinesthetic or visual. So I try to keep it instead of just me standing up and like talking, learn. It's like, hey, today we're gonna watch a movie about this, and then we're gonna have an open discussion about it, and then you know you'll tell me what you learned and what you want to learn more about it. What did you find interesting? And then I kind of do that. So that's my student-led part of it. I try to engage with them as much as possible and ask them, okay, so we learned about volcanoes. What did you find interesting about it? What do you feel like is missing in the information that you learned that you want to learn more? And then the next week we'll learn more on it. So my kids play an active role in what they are being taught. I try to keep it as much student-led. Most of the time we're learning together because a lot of this I haven't learned in school. I wish I did. So we're learning it together, and so that means that I'm teaching them how to do research, right? So sometimes we'll do research papers on certain subjects. So they're researching, and then we always have open discussions. Like every single day we're having discussions about each thing, because that kind of teaches, like lets me know if they actually know, like learned it, or if they actually like the information stuck, right? So I don't do like testing. So that's kind of my way of testing them. Like I'll ask questions and see what their answers are. And if I don't feel like their answers are as strong as they can be, and then I'm like, oh, well, let's learn more about it, or let's relearn what we just learned. Like let's dig in deeper. And that's kind of my way of just knowing that they actually like the information stuck. They learned it. And so what else am I missing? Each year we have read at least 2 novels. I try to keep it like, you know, 9th to 10th grade reading level novels right now, because 10th and I have an 8th grader. My 8th grader reads at a higher reading level. So I feel like 9th and 10th grade works for them. So we read at least one novel that has a movie associated with it, or a documentary or something like that, so we can compare the two, and then we do a compare and contrast, like, oh, did you like the movie better? Did you like the book better? What was different? What was left out? We usually get frustrated and be like, that's not in the movie. We like the book better. And then we also read poems, short stories, articles. That's just like to cover the English aspect of it. And yeah, I think that covers kind of how I do it. So just to reiterate, I do a packet, either weekly or bi-weekly packet, that contains all the information that we're going to learn for the next week or 2 weeks. And then I associate movies, short films, anything like visual that will help them like learn a little bit more. I tie that all in, and then we also do like an experiment or whatnot that tries to tie it all in, or art projects, something with our hands. My kids like using their hands to build stuff and whatnot. So that's kind of how I do it, and I've learned that that's just so much more easy for me and for them, and it's consistent, and they're consistently learning. And around the packets, like if just so happen, like if I'm busy that day with my business or whatnot, then I'm like, hey, go to your packet, do your pages, you know, and then I'll check it. If you have questions, come back to me. They kind of like that independency too, because then it's not like me hovering over them or me like having to stand up for hours and teach them. And it also gives them the freedom of doing schoolwork like out of non-traditional school hours. So like a lot of times I'll see my daughter is a night owl like me, so sometimes she'll be up at like 9 or 10 and she's just like, oh, I'm working on my schoolwork. I'm like, awesome, like I don't have to be there, okay, you're doing your packet. So it just works for me and my family. I hope that this helps you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And I also have a Facebook group for homeschoolers. It's called Homeschooling with a Passion. So you can join that Facebook group if you'd like. We're gonna start sharing ideas around some tips and some ideas around cool little subjects that we can teach our kids. So yeah, I hope to see you in there. Alrighty, take care. I'll see you next week. Bye.